This is Business Now. We are coming to you live from iBrandTV News Studio in Lagos, Nigeria. First, the headlines. Federal government approves $50 million cooking gas energy fund. Dangote Cement increases dividend payout by 25% to 20 naira per share. Oil-producing states in Nigeria received 448 billion naira in 2021 as 13% oil derivatives. Yields on Kenya Eurobonds jump as Ukraine crisis spooked investors. Many thanks for joining us. Here are some stories making headlines at this hour. I am Margaret Opara. Now, mobile transactions in Nigeria have jumped by 4,009.58% to hit 8.07 trillion naira within a 5-year period, as the number of telecommunications subscribers rises by 34.91% to 195.12 million. This is according to data from the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System and Nigerian Communications Commission. According to mobile inter-scheme transaction data tracked on the NIBBS portal, mobile transactions increased from 196.29 billion naira in 2017 to 8.7 trillion naira by the end of 2021. This increase is valued in value was a 5,445.07% hike in mobile channel uptake within the time under review, as mobile transaction volume increased from 5.13 million in 2017 to 284.50 million in 2021. The NIBBS has attributed this increase in mobile channel uptake to changing behavior of bank customers as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, an expert has posited that the federal government cannot cover the current housing deficit in the country alone, noting that there's a need for them to partner with the private sector. Ojo Kayode Olajide, Realtor at JOK Excellent Homes and Properties, stated this earlier in the day on iBrandTV's Business Breakfast Show. Now, Nigeria has a current housing deficit of between 17 and 20 million housing units, and according to statistics, this number is increasing annually by 900,000 units. Olajide noted that the National Social Housing Program, NSPH, under which the federal government is set to construct 300,000 homes across Nigeria for low-income earners, is insufficient to meet up the housing demands of Nigerians.
Of course, it's not enough, because when you are looking at the ratio, we have a deficit of 17 million, and the government is saying it's coming out with 300,000. You know, it's not going to be enough, but at least it's going to sort a lot of things. If these people that really needs these houses, they get access to it, and which is the most important thing of all. You don't tell us on the media that 300,000 is available for Nigerians, and average Nigerians, just about 50 of them can get access to it. And many of these are politicians, and everybody who has the money can pay at once. They just buy and then they resell, which is what we are experiencing in many of these housing estates in Nigeria today. I think the best approach that the government can actually apply to all of these things is that they're supposed to create a special intervention, a fund that will be specially made for housing.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited on Monday insisted that it will continue to develop Nigeria's gas resources despite the exit of international oil companies from the country due to the global push for energy transition and net carbon zero targets. The NNPC's Group Managing Director Mele Kyari disclosed this in Abuja at the ongoing Nigerian International Energy Summit 2022 with the theme, Revitalizing the Industry, Future Fuels and Energy Transition. This came as the federal government announced that it has established a $50 million liquefied petroleum gas or cooking gas energy fund in partnership with Afrexim Bank to deepen the use of LPG in Nigeria. The NNPC boss added in quotes, "No one has invested significantly in the last 10 years and more so in the last 5 years. And it is much more difficult in our country today because we are not able to invest in the fossil fuel industry in the last 5 years to the extent that we are seeing the effect of what really means, end quote. On energy transition, Kyari said the NNPC would work with its partners in facilitating the process in Nigeria regardless of the massive investment drop in fossil fuel projects amid oil firms' exits from Nigeria. And in the meantime, the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, an agency of the federal government, on Monday blamed the over 3-week scarcity of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, on the continued subsidy on PMS. It explained that the solution to the country's prolonged fuel crisis was a halt to the subsidy regime as canvassed by stakeholders, including the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, but was quick to state that the federal government had its reasons for retaining it. This came as officials of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria told our correspondent on Monday that the ex-depot price of petrol by private tank farm owners had risen to 180 naira per litre. Commenting on the petrol crisis at the briefing in Abuja, the Executive Secretary Neti Orji Ogbonnaya Orji described the current petrol scarcity as a symptom, while the main disease was the subsidy. And in other stories, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, and the Nigerian Union of Petroleum Gas and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, are at loggerheads over the pump price of petrol. In Bayelsa, for instance, price of a litre of petrol went as high as 300 naira per litre. The bank issued a 24-hour ultimatum to IPMAN members on Sunday to revert to the official pump price of 165 naira per litre of petrol. But IPMAN says such directive is not within the former's purview. The chairman IPMAN Benin Depot, Douglas E.K. Wu, stated yesterday in Lagos, said NUPENG's ultimatum was misplaced. He emphasized that NUPENG has no power to take over the duties of regulators in the sector. Now, still staying on the Nigerian oil and gas, oil-producing states in Nigeria received a sum of 448.67 billion naira as part of their 13% oil derivative for the year 2021, representing a 5.8% increase compared to 424 billion naira shared in the previous year. This is according to the monthly FAAC report, a fact report released by the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics. According to the report, Delta State received the highest amount with 141.93 billion naira, which accounts for 31.6% of the total amount shared in the period under review. On the flip side, Lagos State received the lowest in terms of oil derivatives, accounting for just 0.8% of the total amount disbursed. A cursory look at historical shows that despite the increase in 2021, the amount shared in the review year was way below the 552.5 billion naira and 536.3 billion naira shared in 2018 and 2019 respectively. Moving on, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment issued about 4,672 certificates of capital allowance worth 7 million naira, 245,398 to 2,203 companies between January 2017 and last December. This is contained in the documents presented to the House Committee on Public Accounts by officials of the ministry at the resumed hearing of the committee in Abuja yesterday. The hearing was attended by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Utumba Niyi Adebayo, who was summoned to appear alongside head of agencies of the ministry who have refused to appear before it for a long time to answer audit queries from the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation. This document also indicated that within the same period, the ministry recorded what they described as disallowance of 101.553 billion naira. Adebayo, however, appealed to the committee to give them more chance to fine-tune their document and come back to them. The proceedings on the floor of the Nigerian stock market closed on a positive note as equity investors earned about 419 billion naira at the close of trading in February 2022. The rally extended the 2-year consecutive rally of the Nigerian stocks, which had closed 2021 with average return of 6.7%. equivalent to net capital gains of 1.278 trillion naira. Despite the negative sentiment in global stock markets, the domestic bourse had finished the trading month of January 2022 in the green territory as investors pocketed a gain of 1.94 trillion naira. Investigations show that this rally extended last month as the all-share index, a common index that tracks all share prices at the Nigerian Exchange Limited, closed the month at 47,394.53 points as against 46,624.67 points recorded in January 31, 2022. Furthermore, the aggregate market value of all quoted equities at the NGX, which is the market capitalization, rose from its opening value of 25.124 trillion naira to close February at 25.543 naira, representing a face value increase of 419 billion naira. Now, efforts by the federal government to deepen liquefied natural gas (LPG) penetration, popularly called cooking gas, appear to have achieved the desired results, as the federal government has announced the establishment of a $50 million LPG energy fund with partnership with Afremix Bank. President Muhammadu Buhari, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Temipre Silva, disclosed this in Abuja yesterday during his address at the opening ceremony of the 5th edition of the Nigerian International Energy Summit (NIES) 2022 with the theme Revitalizing the Industry, Future and Fuels and Energy Transition. Represented by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Temipre Silva, Buhari explained that the federal government has equally established a 20 million cylinder injection scheme where 5 to 10 million people will be introduced to pilot state this year. The Dangote Cement PLC has announced a final dividend of 20 naira per share for the financial year ended December 2021. This is up to 25% from the 16 naira announced for the 2020 financial year. The firm did not pay any interim dividend during the course of the year. The dividend is subject to the appropriate withholding tax, and approval will be paid to shareholders whose name appear in the register of members at the close of business on May 30, 2022. The dividend, which will be paid out in June, is estimated at 340.8 billion naira. Dangote Cement PLC has 17.4 billion outstanding shares and a market capitalization of 4.66 trillion naira. The cement giant's share price closed Monday's trading session at 273.50 naira per share. Still to come, oil prices jump as Ukraine conflict strokes supply concerns. Details and more news after this commercial break.
Most people don't understand the magic of a perfect skin, the allure of a well-pampered skin. We bounce from skincare products to skincare products, from spa to spa. Looking for that ideal solution. I found the solution. And it's Blemiville Skincare and Spa. My name is Neil, and I'm proud to be a part of the Blemiville family.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery. Ooh.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Now we're bringing news from the Africa scene. Yields on Kenya's Eurobonds rose sharply last week as Russia's invasion of Ukraine caused investors to flee to safe haven Western bonds, putting in doubt Kenya's plan to issue new debt by the end of June. The yields rose by an average of 0.86 percentage points last week, one of the highest weekly jumps since they were listed from 2014. In line with the general performance of other African sovereign bonds, which also recorded sharp yield jumps. The highest jump was on the 7-year tranche maturing in 2027, up 1.24 percentage points to 8.15%. The secondary market yields on Kenya's $6.1 billion Eurobonds go up when there is a heightened risk perception on the debts, with prices falling in turn as many look up to offload the papers. The 4 outstanding Eurobonds are traded on the Irish and London stock markets. The OPEC chief and ministers from major African oil-producing countries on Monday defended investments in fossil fuels, saying Africa's development needs were being overlooked in the global drive towards decarbonization. Africa's account for less than 3% of global carbon emissions, while some 600 million Africans have no access to electricity, they said, arguing that investments in the continent's natural resources should go forward. OPEC Secretary General Mohammed Bakindo told an energy conference in Nigeria, in quote, it would be a tragedy of unimaginable proportions if, despite billions of dollars being poured into investment for these resources, this went west as stranded assets, end of quote. His comments came as the latest report from the United States Nations Climate Science Panel warned that half of the world's population was vulnerable to dangerous climate impacts and drastic action was necessary. And on the foreign scene, the U.S. payment card firms Visa Incorporated and MasterCard Incorporated have blocked multiple Russian financial institutions from their network, complying with government sanctions imposed over Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Visa said on Monday it was taking prompt action to ensure compliance with applicable sanctions, adding that it will donate $2 million for humanitarian aid. The government sanctions require Visa to suspend access to its network for entities listed as specially designated nationals, a source familiar with the matter, newsmen. The United States has added various Russian financial firms to the list, including the country's central bank and second-largest lender, VTB. Still on the foreign scene, oil prices surged on Tuesday as concerns over potential supply disruptions after Russia's invasion of Ukraine and related sanctions outweighed talks of a coordinated global crude stocks release. May Brent crude futures were up to $3.04 or 3.1% to $101.1 a barrel by 8:43 GMT. The benchmark touched a 7-year high on $105.79 after the invasion began last week. The U.S. West Texas Intermediate April crude futures were up to 2.56 cents at $98.28. The contract touched a high of $99.10 a barrel the previous day, ending up than 4%. A huge Russian military convoy approached Ukraine's capital on Tuesday after ceasefire talks between Russia and Ukraine failed to reach a breakthrough. Now, Bitcoin has slept since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, bolstered by people in those countries looking to store and move money in anonymous and decentralized crypto. Bitcoin trading denominated in the Russian ruble went into overdrive when the invasion began on Thursday, with daily volumes rising 259% from a day earlier to 1.3 billion ruble, according to data for Crypto Compare. In Ukraine, meanwhile, crypto exchange Kuna saw a daily trading volume more than treble to 150 million hryvnias, equivalent to $5 million US. In the 5 days since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24, Bitcoin had risen 13%, while the S&P 500 US stock index that it often mimics is up around 2%, and traditional safety play gold is now largely flat after gaining as much as 3.5% on the day of the invasion. We'll go on the commercial break right now. When we return, we'll link up with Perpetua for more news updates. I am Margaret Opa. Thanks for watching.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services, that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, for clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's through unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores nationwide.
True unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming through unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your true unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix through unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. Through unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, begiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your through unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder bus stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447. Distributors are needed nationwide.
Mama, you're coming to Lagos. Banga. Baby, Mama just called me now. She's coming to see you. She asked me to tell you to make banga soup for her. And she's close to the house. Oh.
How do you expect me to prepare banga in just few minutes?
I have a solution for you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Sabi cook the banga. Don't go enter my family.
Pali banga is used in making other exotic dishes such as banga jollof rice, banga efo riro, banga asaro or yam porridge, banga egusi, and many more. Pali banga is easy to open, no preservatives, no cholesterol, and no coloring. Approved by NAFDAC. Manufactured by Pali Agro Products Limited. Available in all leading stores and supermarkets nationwide.
Pali banga, natural palm fruit extracts for tasty African cuisine.
Powerful looks command respect, they say. The perfect body, the perfect grooming, and ultimately the perfect skin. Looks, style, and grooming makes the ultimate man. I've found a ridiculously easy way to make my skin always feel epic. My name is Neo. I found Blemiviv, and now my skin finally makes sense.
Thank you, Margaret. President Muhammadu Buhari will on Tuesday depart Abuja for Nairobi, where he is billed to participate in the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the United Nations Environmental Programme, UNEP, scheduled for 3rd to 4th March 2022 in Nairobi, Kenya. He will thereafter proceed to London for routine medical checks that will last for a maximum of 2 weeks. Buhari's trip comes after an invitation extended to him by his Kenyan counterpart, Uhuru Kenyatta, to attend a special session themed Strengthening UNEP for the Implementation of the Environmental Dimension of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, disclosed this in a statement he signed on Tuesday, titled, President Buhari attends special session on UNEP at 50 in Kenya. While there, the President is expected to deliver the national statement of the country and participate in high-level dialogue sessions on the environment. He will be accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyama, Minister of State for the Environment, Sharon Ike-Azo, National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Monguna, retired, Director General, National Intelligence Agency, Ahmed Abubakar, and the Chief Executive Officer of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa. The Nigerian Governors Forum NGF and other stakeholders in the nation's power sector on Monday rejected the continued federal government's sole control of electricity matters in the country. The governors in a statement were reacting to Electricity Bill 2022, which was considered by the Senate Committee on Power at a public hearing held at the National Assembly. The state chief executives, through their chairman, Dr. Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State, said the proposed legislation was unconstitutional in view of the federal status of Nigeria. The governors, in their objection to the bill, said it would be unconstitutional and an unjustifiable act of overreach for the Senate to consider and pass a bill that continued to treat the Federation as one single electricity jurisdiction or sector. Fayemi said, and I quote, "While a single electric power sector reform act may have been useful as a catalyst for the sector in the early years of the Fourth Republic, the states have all come of age, literally and metaphorically, and the arrangements must change in a way that accepts and respects the maturity of the states in electricity matters." End of quote. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has officially opened the political space for the 2023 general election after publishing the notice of election in compliance with extant provisions of the law. The notice, which was published on Monday in each of the state federation and the Federal Capital Territory, contained the dates for the elections and the places where the nomination papers would be delivered. Reacting to the notice, the Inter-Party Advisory Council (IPAC) asked INEC and the political parties to ensure compliance with the new Electoral Act by playing the game according to the rules. In the same vein, a pro-democracy group, ActionAid, said the recent signing of the Electoral Act into law by President Muhammadu Buhari would create the enabling space for participation of women and youths in politics. According to the notice of election, the date for the Presidential and National Assembly elections is Saturday, February 25th, 2023, while the governorship and state houses of assembly elections will hold on Saturday, March 11, 2023. The Commission advised political parties to note that the place for delivery of nomination papers for the elective offices would be the INEC headquarters in Maitama, Abuja, via the online portal established for the purpose. The newly signed amended Electoral Act by President Muhammadu Buhari has continued to generate reactions among residents in Lagos State. iBrandTV reports that the residents, while commending the president for signing the amended Electoral Act, advised the National Assembly to stand down the request of the president for further amendment.
After that, we'll be taking the national anthem, please. Thank you, Your Excellency.
That was the appendage of a long-awaited signature of President Muhammadu Buhari on the Electoral Act. Reacting, these respondents said the amendment will not only improve the electoral process, but will bring more of transparency to it.
Since the past 6-7 years, the president has been there. This 6 times they've been taking the electoral bill to him, for first time, second time, third time, 6 times until he signed now.
The bill is a welcome development, so I'm happy, and I must commend Mr. President for signing that bill, despite they said it's better late than never, especially on the electoral transmission.
The respondents were commending the National Assembly for some of the amendments, such as providing funds for the electoral body a year before, extension of campaign periods, amongst others, advised the National Assembly not to go ahead with further amendments until the recent amendment is put to a test by INEC.
So we don't want Mr. President to be sticking of another amendment for now. Let him just hold his peace. When we apply this electoral law and we now start seeing challenges, then we can now be thinking of, let us look at this, let us look at that. But for now, let us use it as it is.
If all of us are neutral people from different background, then we can slug it out. So I think that bill, that one, send it to National Assembly for them to rework. I urge the National Assembly to just forget about it and let it lie.
President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Electoral Act after several refusal and rejection of the bill and has asked for further amendment of some other sections. iBrandTV reporting for iBrandTV News.
The leadership of Zone D of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, have decried what are termed the lingering impasse between university lecturers and the federal government. They say the inability of both parties to reach a reasonable compromise over the years has had a negative impact on their lives as well as prolonged their academic calendar. The students made a call in Ibadan when they staged a peaceful protest to drive home their demands. The aggrieved youth led by its Southwest coordinator, Stephen Tegbe. The students promised not to back down until the central government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities meet minds and chart a new way forward for our nation's educational system.
We as a leadership of this zone, Southwest Zone D, we are saying today the compromise of NANS at the Congress in Sokoto states that on the 28th of February 2022, we are going on a national protest towards the lingering issue of ASU strike, ASU versus federal government. We are going to be at the receiving hands as a student. Now, 4 years courses is now metamorphosing into 5, 6, 7 years courses. Yes. ASU has always been going on strike. Yes. We think there should be a more decisive approach to the way ASU are going to channel their demands, in which it is not going to affect our students.
Nigerian students, we are saying no to this ASU strike. If we are to go back to 1999, ASU have been strike since almost 6 years now, yes. And it is costing us our future. It is delaying us our future. Yes. We are saying we are future and we are the leaders of tomorrow. Yes.
The Kaduna State government has advised residents to be vigilant over the fear of possible terrorist attacks using improvised explosive devices, IEDs. The Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Mr. Samuel Arunwa, gave the advice in a statement issued in Kaduna on Monday. The fear was heightened by Sunday night's detonation of a suspected IED in Kabala West area of Kaduna. He further stated that security agencies were working hard to avert such a sinister plan in any part of the state. He charged quarry operators to enhance security at their sites and ensure that explosive materials are not readily accessible to be carted away for criminal purposes. He gave the assurance that security agencies would sustain close monitoring of the situation. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, in collaboration with Patrick Lingo Pharmaceuticals Limited, have sensitized youths in Imo State on the dangers of drug and substance abuse. Speaking during the program at Kokwa Town, Idiato North Council area of Imo State on Monday, the NDLEA commander in the state, Ruben Ape, described drug abuse as an evil wind that blows no one any good. Ape, a commander of narcotics, thanked Patrick Lingo for the partnership and called on other public-spirited Nigerians to tour the same path. Speaking at the event, the Chief Executive Officer of Patrick Lingo, Patrick Onwelingo, said that the partnership with the NDLEA was born out of a way of performing his company's corporate social responsibility of discouraging the consumption of hard drugs such as methamphetamine. He commended the activities of the NDLEA in Imo and called on youths of the community to say no to drugs and build a society that they and generations after them would be proud of. He described as worrisome the results of a recent survey which indicated that out of 246 million drug abusers in the world, 14.5 million were Nigerians, and called for proactive measures to stem the tide. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund said it had invested 12 billion naira in the training of researchers across 12 universities in the year 2021 as part of its mandate of funding the educational sector in the country. The Chairman Board of Trustees of TED Fund, Kashim Imam, made this disclosure on Monday in Maiduguri during an interactive forum with the theme, Improving Education Tax Collection in the Post-Pandemic Era, which was organized to improve education tax remittance through the Federal Inland Revenue Service. In his welcome address, Kashim stated that TED Fund had ongoing projects in 226 higher institutions out of the 245 in the country. Some of the projects, including laboratories, engineering workshops, lecture theaters, and lecture halls, among others, are among the 100,000 projects being undertaken with the 2021 Intervention Fund. The Coordinating Director Tax Operating Group FIRS, Kabir Abba, said the agency had devised new strategies to improve tax collection of TED fund and that the service would ensure that all taxable companies and contractors remit their taxes before being considered for award of contracts in any of the tertiary institutions across the country. A World Bank-assisted project, Lagos State Agro-Processing, Productivity Enhancement and Livelihood Improvement Support Project, Appeals Project, says it empowered, trained and supported 17,467 farmers in the last 5 years to boost food sufficiency. Mrs. Olurati Sago Ovebo, State Project Coordinator, Appeal Project, who disclosed this on Monday, said the project duration, which started March 2017, would end March 2023. With total project fund put at $200 million. According to her, the project had surpassed its targeted figure of 10,000 beneficiaries at inception of the project in 2017, empowering 3,950 farmers with improved agricultural technology and physical inputs. Sago Ovebo also mentioned that 1,786 women, physically challenged persons and youths were empowered within the period. She commended Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for supporting the project and including more women and people living with disabilities. The project is also executed in Cross River, Enugu, Kaduna, Kano and Kogi and estimated to create 10,000 direct beneficiaries per state, with 35% direct beneficiaries being women. It also targets 50,000 farm households per state. Sago Ovebo said the farmers were supported in 3 value chains: poultry, aquaculture and rice. In 2022, the project would complete the recently approved construction of 15 cottage industries approved in 15 different parts of the state, as well as purchase transformer for farmers in Araga, Ekpe. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo yesterday expressed optimism that the current governance and human rights challenges facing the African continent would soon become a thing of the past. He also submitted that for Africa to achieve the desired level of attainment, issues such as poverty, socioeconomic rights, environmental and sustainable development alongside concerns about democracy and unconstitutional changes of government have to be dealt with. This was the position of the Vice President while speaking on the theme, The African Court and the Africa We Want, at the opening of the 2022 Judicial Year of the African Court on Human and People's Rights in Arusha, Tanzania. Osinbajo, who addressed the justices of the African Court, other sister regional human rights institutions, groups of lawyers and experts and international human rights bodies, among other stakeholders, identified the challenges and burdens. He then called on African nations to, while pursuing implementation of Agenda 2063, resolve to improve the human rights records of the continent in the immediate future, as the purpose of life is in the here and now, not in the far future. And now the African scene. A Sudanese protester was shot dead on Monday, medics said, during a march by thousands of protesters against last year's coup. The shooting happened as thousands of demonstrators tried to cross the bridge across the Nile linking the city to Khartoum. The death takes the total number of people killed to at least 84 since General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan led the October 25th military takeover, according to independent medics. Protests calling for civilian rule have continued in the impoverished northeast African country, despite the deadly crackdown. Last week, United Nations rights expert Adama Dieng, during a mission to Sudan, expressed concern about the violations committed by the authorities and the use of live ammunition against protesters. Both the UN and the United States have made similar appeals before, with Washington threatening further consequences if violence continues. The African Union said on Monday that it was disturbed by reports that African citizens in Ukraine are being refused the right to cross borders to safety as they try to flee the conflict in Ukraine. Thousands of African and other foreign nationals, particularly students, have been scrambling to leave Ukraine following Russia's invasion. But as hundreds of thousands thronged to Ukraine's borders, overwhelming authorities in neighboring countries, reports have emerged that Africans are being treated differently and sometimes prevented from leaving. Several have shared videos and testimonies on social media denouncing discrimination at train stations and border posts. The AU statement added that all people have the right to cross international borders during conflict and should enjoy the same rights to cross to safety from the conflict in Ukraine, notwithstanding their nationality or racial identity. And foreign news now, 193-member United Nations General Assembly began meeting on the crisis in Ukraine on Monday, ahead of a vote this week to isolate Russia by deploring its aggression against Ukraine and demanding Russian troops stop fighting and withdraw. The General Assembly will vote this week on a draft resolution similar to a text vetoed by Russia in the 15-member Security Council on Friday. No country has a veto in the General Assembly, and Western diplomats expect the resolution, which needs two-thirds support, to be adopted. While General Assembly resolutions are non-binding, they carry political weight. The United States and allies see action out of the United Nations as a chance to show that Russia is isolated because of its invasion of neighboring Ukraine. The draft resolution already has at least 80 co-sponsors, diplomats said on Monday. More than 100 countries are due to speak before the General Assembly votes. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said he hoped the talks would produce not only an immediate halt to the fighting, but also a path towards a diplomatic solution. Russia's UN ambassador Vasily Nebenzia said Russia's actions in Ukraine were being distorted. He told the General Assembly, "The Russian army does not pose a threat to the civilians of Ukraine, is not shelling civilian areas." Russia calls its actions in Ukraine a special operation that it says is not designed to occupy territory, but to destroy its southern neighbor's military capabilities and capture what it regards as dangerous nationalists. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, said on Tuesday the war in Ukraine should be stopped and accused the United States, which he called a mafia-like regime, of creating the crisis. Iran's top political authority also said the roots of the conflict must be acknowledged. Khamenei criticized Washington and other Western nations as talks reached a critical stage in Vienna between Iran and world powers about reviving a 2015 nuclear deal. Iran said on Monday efforts to revive the pact could succeed if the United States took a political decision to meet Tehran's remaining demands, as months of negotiations enter what one Iranian diplomat called a now or never stage. The stakes are high because the failure of 10 months of talks could carry the risk of a fresh regional war, more harsh sanctions on Iran by the West, and continued upward pressure on world oil prices already strained by the Ukraine conflict. Iran's foreign ministry spokesman said the remaining issue were the extent to which the sanctions would be rolled back, providing guarantees that the United States would not quit the pact again, and resolving questions over uranium traces found at several old but undeclared sites in Iran. All parties involved in the talks say progress has been made toward the restoration of the pact to curb Tehran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief, which the United States abandoned in 2018. But both Tehran and Washington have said there are still some significant differences to overcome. And coming up right after this commercial break is entertainment news. Stay with us.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services, and meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment Business. I am Chioma Amaribulam. Following the attack on Ukraine, Hollywood studios are terminating theatrical film releases in Russia. The Walt Disney Company, Warner Bros. And Sony have also decided not to release films in the country, including the new Pixar film Turning Red, The Batman by Warner Bros. And Morbius by Sony. Disney said in a statement on Monday, "We will make future business decisions based on the evolving situation." Though ticket sales in Russia are not as outstanding as China, Russian market still accounts for about 3% of all global tickets. Spider-Man No Way Home, a co-production with Sony, has totaled over $50 million in the country. Now away from that, Neil Diamond signed a deal to hand over his entire song catalogue and rights to Universal Music Group, which was announced on Monday. Details of the group has not been disclosed, but it follows a line of acquisitions from Sting's Music earlier this month for a reported $250 million to Bob Dylan's catalogue for over $300 million in 2020. The catalogue includes hits like Sweet Caroline, Red Red Wine, and I'm a Believer. The deal includes rights to all of Neil's recordings from his career, 110 unreleased tracks, and an unreleased album. Diamond has sold more than 130 million albums worldwide. The deal marks the continuation of a trend of a long string of established artists selling their songbooks to big-pocketed investors and music labels. And that's it on Entertainment Business. I am Chioma Amare Gulam.
Thank you, Chioma. We now join Samson for sports news.
Formula One's revenue for the 3 months ended 31st December rose 62% year-over-year to $787 million, the series owner, Liberty Media, has announced. The Global Motorsport Series posted operating income of $62 million for the fourth quarter, having suffered a $41 million loss for the same period in 2020. For 2021, Formula One's total revenue climbed nearly 87% to $2.14 billion. Operating income was $40 million compared to a $444 million loss for 2020. Across its 3 divisions, Liberty Media's total revenue for 2021 was $11.4 billion, while its operating income was $1.98 billion. Of this amount, Major League Baseball's Atlanta Braves brought in $568 million, up a whopping 219% year-over-year. Operating income for the year was $20 million compared to a $128 million loss in 2020. The Braves' revenue for the fourth quarter nearly tripled year-over-year from $35 million to $102 million. And still talking sports business at this hour, football's global governing body has announced that it expects revenue to exceed its $6.44 billion revenue target for the 2019 to 2022 rights cycle. In its 2021 annual report, FIFA says that it reached $766.5 million in revenues for 2021, exceeding its original budget target by 3%. It also represents a 187% increase on 2020, when FIFA posted revenue of $266.5 million. Contracted revenue as of 31st December 2021, therefore, stood at $6.11 billion, meaning FIFA has hit 95% of its revenue target for the 3-year cycle that concludes with the Qatar 2022 World Cup. The organization now expects to pass its overall target for the current cycle and set a new revenue record. Marketing sales, another major traditional income driver, reached $131 million last year, with the bulk of that revenue, $93 million precisely, coming from FIFA's global partnership agreements, while $30 million came from World Cup sponsors. A further $5 million was generated from FIFA's regional supporters, while $2 million from women's soccer partners and $1 million from national level sponsors were generated. And that's it on Sports Business. I'm Samson Olede.
It's a wrap on the news at this hour. Thanks for watching. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. To enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.